Hey guys, and welcome to my new movie review for Blood Simple 1984. Now, before I get started, first of all, if you haven't and you're new to my YouTube channel, first of all, welcome to my YouTube channel. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much for clicking on this link. Now, before I go into my review, I actually just want to tell you something about how I actually found out about Blood Simple by the Coen brothers. Now, I had never heard about this movie at all in any way, shape or form. Didn't even know it was a thing. Didn't know it existed at all. I was watching an interview with Kevin McCarthy, who is an interviewer for Fox News. He was interviewing James Marsden about the movie Sonic the Hedgehog. Yes, the one with Jim Carrey, the live action version. And they were talking about visuals in movies, just visuals and stuff. And if you want to see the full interview for that, I will leave it in the description of this YouTube video. And it's him, it's James, it's Kevin. Kevin is interviewing several different characters of the movie Sonic the Hedgehog, Jim Carrey including. And Kevin and James talk about a scene where there's a scene in this movie very at the very almost not first off in the movie, but very close to the beginning of the movie. And there's a camera sequence, and it's really interesting because I actually didn't pick it up the first time I saw it. I picked it up the second time I watched it, and I thought it was really fascinating that Kevin actually brought it up, because I literally wouldn't have ever thought to see that part of this movie like that. It was just such a quick, really quick sequence. But the reason why he brought it up, and now I really understand why he actually brought attention to it, is literally purely for the fact, guys, that this movie was made back in 1984. 1984, guys. So for sequences like that was really impressive. Really well done. Just incredible. And it's funny when you think about how when you see cinema today and you're like, wow, movies have come such a long way in terms of creativity, and especially CGI. And I'll get to my thoughts about the CGI in any degree later on in this review. But first of all, guys, let's roll that synopsis. Blood Simple 1984 synopsis. A rich but jealous man hires a private investigator to kill his cheating wife and her lover. However, nothing is simple when blood is involved. So straight off the bat, guys, I actually have to say about this movie, I feel like it's actually very slow paced, the beginning of the movie. In fact, a lot of sequences in this movie are actually slow paced. It's not a bad thing. It really isn't a bad thing, because this movie really is character driven. You don't actually really understand at first what the character chemistry and the relationship between Ray and Abby is. Ray played by John Getz and Abby played by Frances McDormand. And then you see the second sequence of the movie, and then you understand what's going on. His line of dialogue gives it away and spills the beans in very clear evidence of what's going on. It's pretty messed up. But other than that, guys, their chemistry is, and it speaks for itself, this movie. It's pretty, as I said, this movie really is character driven. It really is. It is one of those movies that when you watch this movie, truly, you'll understand why this is one of those movies that the fundamental elements of cinema are, because it's so, and I know I'm going to probably say this word a lot. I really am. But there's a reason why I'm going to say this word a lot. And this movie is so simple. Like, it really is so simple. But it's so ridiculously effective because it's character driven. Really, really character driven. The relationship between Julian and the detective, in my personal opinion, guys, in this movie, is actually kind of disturbing. The reason why I say it's kind of disturbing is because the detective, it's like he doesn't care what the outcome of what he's been asked to do is, and Julian is basically just in pain, and he just wants the pain to end realistically at the end of the day. But the bad thing about the fact that he wants his pain to end is the way he goes about it, and it's pretty disturbing. It's just fascinating to see their character chemistry in this movie and what comes about it, and it's phenomenal because of the fact that, and it's a very, very simple fact, of the duration of this movie, guys, because the duration of this movie is only 1 hour and 39 minutes. So it's actually very, 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 it's a pretty quick movie. Not overly or anything, but the character outline and the plot and everything is really spilled out so authentically in the runtime, and it really, I was going to say, it really is one of those movies that you just sit down and just really get taken in by. And I have to say, guys, yes, there are a few sequences in this movie, unfortunately, that do kind of drag, and it's kind of, it's not in a bad way. It's just building to the plot of what's about to happen next. This movie is directed by Joel and Ethan Cohen, which are brothers. And I tell you what, again, going back to what I said in the start of this movie review, this is the reason why James Kevin brought this up in conversation, because of, when you check it out, when you see the link, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. A question that Kevin asks James, it literally is why Blood Simple came up in the conversation. And I tell you what, guys, I understand after seeing this movie why James McCarthy would actually feel that way about working with these two incredible directors, because of how, as I said, guys, simply brilliant this movie truly is. The soundtrack to this movie, guys, is none like I have ever heard before. It is so, no pun intended, simple, and it is so powerful for this movie. It actually is quite interesting in this movie, guys, because there are certain times in this movie, in fact quite often, where there is actually no music playing at all. Like, it's just the actors doing their thing. But when the music does kick in this movie, oh my gosh, it is so effective. And it's just so, the score really, really does resonate with you. It really is that powerful, guys, that I had to download it immediately. Now, I put it on my playlist in my car, and one day I was just randomly driving along and I hadn't heard it in a little while. And I played it and I was like, whoa, what is this? Because I forgot that I downloaded the theme song. But then, in no word of a lie, guys, as soon as when you see this movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you hear a certain chord being played, straight away, I was like, oh, wow. It really is so, it's just gripping. It's just so powerful, yet literally so simple. And I know I've said that over and over, but it really is. It's just, really is one of those movies, guys. It truly is. One of the things I loved about Blood Simple so much, guys, is something that's actually quite interesting coming from me. There is no CGI in this movie. As I said, this is really character driven, character storyline driven, but there is no CGI in this movie at all. Now, don't get me wrong, I love CGI. Without CGI, there would never be a Man of Steel movie. Seriously, I love CGI when done right, obviously. This movie has no CGI, and purely because the fact that it has no CGI is the reality of what you're watching in front of you. It is just so simple, so elegantly shot, so elegantly scripted, so elegantly spoken. The dialogue in this movie and the acting and the character chemistry is just, it really is flawless, guys. It really, really is. It really is interesting in this movie to see how the directors and the filmtographers really made a love sequence in this movie without actually showing anything at all. I was really, really fascinated by that. Those of you who have seen this movie know exactly what I'm talking about, and if you haven't, when you see the love sequence in this movie, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. Now, I'm talking about the first one, not the second one, the first one. And it's really fascinating because she joins him in bed. You'll see what I'm talking about. And for those of you who have been following me for any period of time, I do not do spoilers in my movie reviews. I don't do spoilers at all. So I'm not going to give anything away. But I'm just trying to paint you a picture of how much I appreciated this movie and how I think that you should go into this movie with a completely open mind and just really ready to see filmmaking at its absolute core's finest edge. Like, honestly. Back to what I was saying about the love sequence. It really is, that honestly, genuinely, guys, was phenomenal to watch this movie and realize what you're seeing in front of you. It's like, oh, wow. That like they literally didn't actually show anything, but it was painted crystal clear what just happened. But the intensity, the level of the intensity and the reality of what was happening in that sequence was just absolute, plain and simple, and so well done. At the 20-minute and 25-second mark of this movie, guys, is where we hear the very first and very powerful score to this movie. And I tell you what, guys, as I said, when you see it, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. When you first hear that incredible piano opening sequence at the 20-minute, 25-second mark, it's just incredible. It really, 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 really is incredible. And one of the funny things, and I understand why, but one of the funny things I found out about this movie, guys, is the fact that it's rated R. Now, I get it because of the sensitivity, I guess you'd call it, of the movie. But I also made me go, really? R? Like, really? But I guess back then, that was pretty heavy, especially the context of what is actually happening in front of you, which is full on. But this, I tell you, as I said, when that score kicks in, wow, my gosh. I can't, I know I'm talking that up. I understand that I'm talking that up pretty heavily. I understand that. But there's a reason for it. There really, really is. Well, I can genuinely say right now, guys, I really strongly feel this. Once you hear it, I really feel that you'll download it. Like, honestly, I really genuinely say that. I mean that wholeheartedly because it really is that good. That office sequence where the detective shows Marty the photos, and when you see it, if those of you who have seen the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And when you see the movie, you'll get it. Either it was extremely hot shooting that day, or the makeup artist, man, they did a phenomenal job. And I mean, honestly, just a ridiculously incredible job with that. It was outstanding. I genuinely bought every element, every moment of that sequence. I thought it was so well executed. It was so well done. Blood Simple is really one of those movies where it feels like there, as I said earlier, guys, it feels like there's no music at all in this movie. Like genuinely, it actually feels like there's no music at all. But then when the music does come on in any sequence of the elements of the movie, It is so powerful. It really, really, I know, I just hope I'm not talking that up too much, but I really don't feel like I am, because it just is gripping. It's just so, no pun intended, simple, but it's so good. Like, it is just so good. I could literally listen to that piece of music just over and over and over. It's so good. Okay, guys, so I can totally 100% understand why the audience was completely confused at the photo, because you don't actually see anything happen. And then later on in the movie, the detective burns photos in sequence, and then it makes sense. But prior to that, you're like, wait, what? How is that? Nothing happened. But then you realize later on he's burning something, and you realize, oh my gosh, that's awesome. That is absolutely incredible. Now, that I really was taken back by that, and I was really, really impressed by how they did those sequences. So good. Guys, there is no way at all in this movie that you can tell me that the window hand sequence did not make you squirm. I would not. If you said, nah, that didn't bother me at all, nah, I wouldn't believe you. Nah, oh my gosh, that scene is so well executed. That scene is so well executed. It is so good. Far out, it is so good. Oh my gosh. So before I go on, guys, I just want to let you know that Blood Simple is a crime drama thriller movie. It really is a masterpiece in filmography. Like, it really, really is. Directed by the Coen brothers, with an absolutely incredible cast. And I tell you what, guys, this is a movie that is just an absolute treat. So for anyone who has been following my channel for any period of time, you know that I love to give you guys trivia, because in my personal humble opinion, trivia for me, watching a movie review, is like icing on a cake. And there's a little bit of trivia in here because you guys are worth it, and I really appreciate you being here. So guess what time it is, guys? Trivia time! Cameo. Holly Hunter, voice on Murris's answering machine. Hunter had auditioned for the role of Abby, but turned it down because she was performing a play in New York at the same time. So she encouraged her roommate, Frances McDormand, to go and audition for the role. How cool is that, guys? Next piece of trivia is, guys, on the advice of Sam Raimi, the Coen brothers went door to door showing potential investors a 2-minute trailer of the film they planned to make. They ultimately raised $750,000 in a little over a year, and enough to start production on the movie. That's awesome. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Blood Simple is actually the film debut of Frances McDormand. That's pretty cool. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Emmett Walsh was actually paid his full salary for this movie in cash. That doesn't happen these days. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Emmett Walsh's part was actually specifically written for the actor's character. Next piece of trivia is, guys, this is the first film directed by the Coen brothers. Now that's incredible. For a first film, that's amazing. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the director's cut is actually 3 minutes shorter than the feature release, which is so weird. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the finished film was brought to LA and shown to the major studios, and all passed on the movie. Later that year, it was accepted into the 1984 New York Film Festival and then shown at the Toronto Film Festival, where a deal was made in Circle Films to distribute the film domestically. Next piece of trivia is, guys, though Emmett Walsh's character is never called by name in the film, he's named Lauren Vesser in the script. In the film, the name Lauren can actually be seen on his Zippo lighter, which is funny because I actually thought his Zippo lighter said love. So there you go. Next piece of trivia is, guys, while Ray is driving with Marty in the back seat, the DJ heard on the radio is John Livesey. He said his replacement at 6 a.m. will be Mike Miller. Skip Livesey and Michael are the sound editors on Blood Simple. That's a cool piece of trivia, guys. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the opening scene with Ray and Abby in the car was shot in a garage. Moreover, 3 different cars were used for Ray's car in the opening scene. Man, that's weird. But anyway, next piece of trivia is, guys, the original video version of Blood Simple couldn't get the rights to use the Four Tops song Same Old Song, which is essentially became the theme for the film. It was instead replaced by the Neil Diamond cover song I'm a Believer. Later DVD and Blu-ray releases restored the Four Tops song. Next piece of trivia is, guys, this movie was shot over the period of 8 weeks. Next piece of trivia is, guys, the scene where Ray is nearly caught committing murder in the road by night by passing motorists would later be used in Fargo 1996. For Fargo, the Coen brothers would rewrite the suspense sequence so that the motorists would wind up being victims as well. I'll have to watch that one now. Next piece of trivia is, guys, Carter Burwell's first collaboration with the Coen brothers. Next, last, and final piece of trivia, guys, and I will leave you with this one, and thank you so much for sticking with me. I really appreciate your time. The song It's the Same Old Song by the Four Tops was replaced by I'm a Believer by the Monkees for VHS releases of the film. Thanks for being here, guys. I appreciate your time. Seriously, have you had the chance to see Blood Simple? If you have, let me know in the comment section below what you thought of Blood Simple. Did you think it was amazing or not? Guys, before I let you go, I'm just going to let you know one thing straight off the bat, what I believe this film has, and I know that my viewers have been going, wait, you haven't said it, this is ridiculous, because I'm about to right now. Does this movie have in its core DNA the thing that film needs in order to go back and rewatch it, what I like to call rewatchability? And my answer to that is, yes, it does. Why? Because I did. That's my answer. You guys are welcome. Thanks for being here. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for liking. I appreciate your time. Until my next review, don't forget who's bringing this movie review for Blood Simple, guys. This is Superman Steve, flying out.